Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new process video and I am working on a side-by-side double page layout. Technically it's two singles. They don't really go together, like they don't have to match or anything, but they are next to each other. So I have two photos over here. I think I actually want to cut this down and do some kind of a background on it. I'm just not exactly sure how to do that, but I think that's what I want. And then over here, I've already picked out this card because I've kind of got an orangey tint on this building back there, a little bit right here, and I love that it says Chicago. So actually, let's just do that. Since I know I want to cut down this photo, I'm just going to do that right away. So I have my trimmer out here, and I have a lot of dead space on both sides of that sign. So I think, I'm not really measuring, I'm just eyeballing it. Do a little bit there, a little bit here. There we go. And I don't know that I want to trim it the other way. This way, if I did, I would only be able to do a little bit because I don't want to cut off the O there. So I think that's going to be it. And in looking at these, I'm wondering if I should do red. If I should do a red background, or should I just find something red that I could do up here on the window shot coming into the airport. I flew into Midway, by the way, so this is my view from Midway. Obviously wrong direction if you're coming from O'Hare. So I'm just not sure, but I definitely want red in there somehow to make this really pop out a bit. I'll have to look through my Chicago stuff and what I have, because maybe I have something in red that would be really easy to just use up there. So I just realized something. I pulled out a bag of stuff I have. It's right here. This is really high-tech stuff. Paper bag that says CHI. But I had a bunch of stuff that I picked up very specific to Chicago. So like I had these Subway L cars. I got this at Paper and Pencil when I was in Andersonville. I want to use that on the other page, one of these, I think. This one matches well, but that's not the L. It's a little too high-techy. But I have them. And then I have these. And at first I got really excited because I'm like, yay, I can use those. This is more red, but this almost looks like orangey red. It's not a good color match, I don't think, for this. I don't know that I'm going to use those. That's also from Paper and Pencil. I was going through some other things that I have. A lot of these are obviously too big. Not going to fit there. But then I remembered, why is this in there? Not sure why I threw that in there, but it's in there. But you can see I have several postcards. When I find them, ones that I really like, I just buy them and keep them. I figure I go in Chicago enough, like I'll make them work. I found this one and look at what's on there. It's kind of orangey red on this too, but I'm tempted to like do a page over here and now do an insert of this rather than working on this other page. And then I would have to figure out what to put on the back, but I got lots of stuff, so I'm sure that would be fine. But now I'm kind of feeling like maybe I want to use this. I would have to cut it down a little bit to get it to fit, but that's okay. There is room on both sides here that I could maybe make it a little bit smaller, but I'm kind of digging that idea because otherwise this just sits around. And you saw I have like 3 or 4 more different types. Why not use it? All right, I cut this down. It is now 3 3/4 inches wide. So I checked it against how far out the cover of the album goes. It would fit, but it would be right on that edge. So I can't really use an insert, an attacher, one of these, which is what I thought maybe I could do. That will make it too big. That's too far out. It would be sticking out of the album. So that's a bummer. But I could just make the holes right in it and do that, and it just lives outside of a page protector. It doesn't have an attacher. I think all that would be fine. I'm actually okay making holes directly in this because if they go through this stuff a little bit here, I don't care. I think it'll be fine. So I think I am going to do that. And then for the back side, I need to cover it with something, but I have this that I pulled out. And I've had this in my stash a while. I generally don't do a ton of scrapping in November. I don't normally travel a huge amount in that month, or at least I haven't the last couple of years. I don't do a family album anymore, so like I'm not scrapping Thanksgiving, generally speaking. that would be perfect to use it up here, because otherwise, where else am I going to use it? Okay, I have this lined up because I want to make sure that it's going to fit in the holes the way I want it to, and that it won't lose anything major. So I think I'm going to align it like this. So the first hole will be right here in the middle of the C, which is totally fine. That way it doesn't cut off the letter. And then you can see where the other holes will end up. Yes, a little bit will go through the lion. I'm fine with that. Same here. This one will go through a little bit of the sculpture, but not that much. You'll still be able to totally tell what it is. So I think that is going to be the hole placement. All right, I checked the holes once they were punched and they line up perfectly. So I'm happy with that. That was a good decision. So now I have that done. Now I have to figure out what to do with the back. I likely will cover up all of this with some kind of paper, and then I'll just repunch the holes so that it works. I still have to figure out what to do with these. This one is going to have to wait until later, which is totally fine. I can do that as a separate video or not do it on camera or whatever. But changing my goals here a little bit to get all of this done instead. I have selected something kind of wild, but I'm hoping that it works. I'm gonna cut it first. I won't adhere it till I'm sure. But because I have this, and it already has some yellow leaves, which I will use, and because there's gonna be orange next to it, I'm thinking this. I pulled this out of my orange scraps. I think this is an old piece, maybe from A Beautiful Mess, years and years ago when I used to get their kit when they did scrapbooking stuff, and I just held on to it because it was kind of funky. I think it works because it was still Halloween time. It was November 1st. Halloween had just happened. It was Day of the Dead. Like, I think I can pull it off. So I'll have that. This will be on top of it, plus this. This, I realize these are not the same, but I feel like it's close enough. And I have room, like I could stamp. If I wanted to, again, I could put something, where'd they go here? I could put something from Chicago, like in one of the circles or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna try it and just hope it pans out. I've cut down the paper so that it's the same size as the postcard here. And I have the November title here. I think I'm gonna string it across there so that I do have some darker orange in the background. It'll show up better. So I have that. I can use my leaves right here, and that does leave me room to stamp something. So I might maybe just do that. That's a small enough word that it fits in there. What else do I have? Is there anything else that applies? We did do the Riverwalk, but I don't want to make it that specific. Sweet Home Chicago. Oh, that's almost too big. It's end to end. Windy City. Ooh, Windy City might fit. So you know what? Maybe it'll either be the Windy City or Chicago. So I have my mono liquid glue here. That's what I'm using to attach this. You can see it right now, but this dries clear. So it won't be a problem once it's dried. Let's get that on there. Before I really press down on it, I want to make sure it's that good placement. I think that's good. All right, now I can press down. There we go. And I don't want to attach it to this until all this is done, because I also still need to stamp on it. And if I screw up the stamping, I need to be able to like rip this sucker off. But I need it there for placement. Did I get, oh, a little chunk of it came off there. There we go. I need it there for placement for when I stamp. Maybe I'll do that next before I put these on there, just in case I do screw it up, less to try to pry off. So then I have to decide, do I want Windy City or Chicago? You know what, maybe Windy City, because it already says Chicago here. I don't need to do that like 3 or 4 times, because it also says it on my opening page. You know what, yes, decision made. I'm going with the Windy City. Luckily, my stamping came out perfectly. Yay! So now you can kind of see how things are going to line up here. I can attach this and make the holes through there, and then I can also put on the leaves. Ta-da! There it is with everything attached. Everything is glued on there. Whoops, that one you can tell hasn't set yet. Careful. There we go. Got a little overzealous there. but everything is glued down. I have this done, my stamping, and then the holes are made. So this one is ready to go in the album, which is great. But then I still have to finish off this. I pulled out my red scraps to pick out a background for that picture that I had, and I've decided I'm actually going to go with this paper. It does have a pattern, but it's relatively subtle. Most of it's going to be covered by the photo, but I do like the way it looks, and the red that's in here is kind of a mix between this, and there is some orange in there too. So I figure, you know what, together, I think that works pretty well. So I'm gonna cut this down to a 3x4, and then I'll attach the photo. All right, so I attached that, and originally I thought maybe I would do an embellishment or something down here, like overlap these. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm gonna leave it as is. And then I pulled out all of my red pieces of ephemera, and I actually decided just on this one. It's very small, but it's to the point. It gets across the idea that yes, I love Chicago. So I'm actually gonna take it and just adhere it right towards the top. And that actually might be, I can get this unstuck here, there we go. That might be all I do here. So I'm just gonna do it like right here. With my view out the window. Let's see here. What do I think? I can see a little white edge there that I didn't notice before. Kind of bothers me a little bit, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna lift it up to try to take care of that. I think that's fine. Is that enough? Yeah, you know what? I think that's good. I don't want to overdo it. So here's another one done for Chicago. Thanks for watching.